The primary objective of a business is to generate a profit for its owners. Profitable businesses can be based on a low-cost strategy, like Walmart, a customer service strategy, like FedEx, a product branding strategy, like Coca-Cola, or a variety of other business strategies. No matter what a company's underlying strategy is, it must make long-term investment decisions in buildings, equipment, information technology, personnel, and so forth. Capital budgeting is the process of determining whether the future benefits stemming from these strategic decisions are sufficient to justify the significant upfront associated costs. In short, capital budgeting involves a comparison of the magnitude of upfront costs to the magnitude of estimated future multi-year benefits. In business, capital is defined as the total amount of money or other resources owned or used by an individual or a company to acquire future income or benefits. Thus, capital is something to be invested with the expectation that it will be recovered along with a profit, and capital budgeting is the planning for that investment. Now, from a quantitative standpoint, the success of the investment depends on the amount of net future cash inflows or future cash savings in relation to the cost, the current cash outlays on the investment. Ignoring the time value of money for a moment, if a company invests $10,000 and receives only $10,000 in the future, there's been no profit. In other words, there has been no return on the investment. However, if $15,000 is received in the future, the original investment has been preserved and an additional return on the investment or profit of $5,000 has been earned. Other things being equal, investors obviously wish to receive the greatest future benefit for the least investment cost. Now, three aspects of capital investment decisions are critical to long-run profitability. First, a large initial outlay. Decisions to invest in assets like land, buildings, and equipment usually require large outlays of capital. Firms making poor decisions involving these large assets will struggle to survive. Second, the potential long-term impact on earnings. Long-term investments, by definition, extend over several years. Thus, poor capital budgeting resulting in bad investment decisions is likely to have an adverse effect on earnings over a longer period. And third, these decisions are difficult to reverse. Long-term investments in land, buildings, and specialized equipment are much less liquid than other investments. Investments in stocks and bonds, for example, can usually be sold through regularly established markets at almost any time. It's much more difficult to dispose of capital assets. Now, all long-term investment decisions are important. The larger the investment, however, the more critical is the need to budget for that expenditure, and the longer the time period, the more difficult it is to assess future outcomes and to plan accordingly. Now, following are some typical business decisions that can be better understood with capital budgeting techniques. Should a machine that breaks down be repaired or replaced? Should a pharmaceutical company hire a renowned research scientist and commit to supporting this scientist and her staff for the next 10 years? Should a company add to its existing manufacturing facility, or should it build a new, larger factory? Situations like these require careful consideration of many factors, qualitative as well as quantitative. And it is just as important for nonprofit organizations to make sound strategic and capital investment decisions as for for-profit organizations to do that. Now, the concepts and techniques discussed in this topic are applicable to all types of organizations: companies, governmental agencies, school districts, hospitals, municipalities, and so forth. Capital budgeting analysis can help by answering two basic questions. First, relating to screening. Does the investment make sense? That is, does it meet a minimum standard of financial acceptability? And the second relates to ranking. Is an investment the best among the acceptable alternatives? To answer these questions, we first need to review the time value of money concept. So let's turn our attention to that for just a moment.